I didn't get into Cambridge University, and at the time it seemed like the biggest stab in the heart that you could possibly imagine. The English school system here where I went to school, year 9, year 10, that's when I got my heart set on going to Cambridge University. I decided that I wanted to study computer science. I saw the film The Social Network and realized that programming and making software is amazing and can end up making a load of money. So I was like, okay, that's the path. And I wanted to get the best possible computer science degree. Probably because the people in The Social Network went to Harvard, and that's one of the best universities for computer science in the US. So in the UK, I was like, okay, which one's the best here? It's usually Oxford and Cambridge that swap that top place for computer science, but you can only apply to one of them for some reason. I guess they're rival universities, so they only let you apply to one. If you're applying to one, you can't apply to the other. All those years ago, year 9, year 10 in high school, got the best scores I possibly could in GCSE, A stars across every subject. Computer science requires a certain selection of subjects. They wanted maths, further maths, physics, and a fourth one, preferably computing. I went to a few different prep workshop type sessions to just get more knowledge on how to successfully apply to Cambridge. The high school that I went to wasn't a private high school where like half the students end up getting into either Oxford or Cambridge and they have loads of experience applying. I went to just a normal high school. So the school didn't give too much help with the application. Nonetheless, I did the application, and a few months later, they actually got back to me and they said, come down for an interview and some further testing. So I was like, hell yes. So I go all the way down from where I live in Leeds to Cambridge. Both my parents go with me. I go in to do this maths test for computer science. There's a lot of maths required for it. Really hard maths test. It was one of the most painful periods of time of my entire life. There were 25 questions. I remember that vividly. And I could only even attempt to answer 3 of them because I just didn't know the maths. Maybe the other people there had done some like advanced classes in preparation for this specific test. Maybe they'd read lots of crazy books and they were just super smart. Whatever. I could only try to answer 3 of them using the maths that I learned in my maths and further maths A-levels to that point. And of the 3 that I attempted to answer, I got all 3 of them wrong. So I was sweating buckets at that point. I left the test. I was like, oh God, I was so nervous because the interview was next and I had to speak to the person who would be like my tutor if I did get a place. I was thinking I've absolutely botched the test, but I might be able to bring it back and still secure an offer if I just nail this interview. I was just so nervous though, and when I got in there, the entire interview wasn't what I'd planned for. It was just to talk about the test. The test that I couldn't do, basically. So we went through the 3 answers that I'd tried to give for the questions, and right at the end of the interview, the interviewer said, do you have any questions for me? I just had to ask a question to try to seem like I was still on the ball. And I said, does this office have Ethernet connection, like good internet connection? I was like, it had nothing to do with anything. It's just that, yeah, anyway. I left Cambridge. I knew it hadn't gone that great, but I still thought, okay, so I've shown some workings for the maths questions I at least attempted, so they know that I'm not completely brain dead. And the interview, like I must have said something decent. It could have gone okay. I could still potentially get an offer. Many months went by and I eventually got an email through that said, you haven't been successful with your application. And I remember just being in a class in high school and my heart just sank. And I was like, just so sad. I'd had my heart set on that for multiple years. And like as a kid, multiple years is a long time. It felt a bit like the end of the world and I didn't really know what I was going to do after that. But then I did get an offer from Durham University, which is also a very good university. It was like a fallback choice to Cambridge at the time, but that's where I ended up going. And I actually ended up probably having a much better university experience going to Durham compared to Cambridge, because at Cambridge, you have to study and study and study, lots of pressure to study. Whereas at Durham, it's like you do your studying, you work hard, but there's also plenty of time for like sports activities and socializing and stuff. And I think that's really important as a student, just to sort of develop you into a better functioning adult. So even though not getting that offer from Cambridge seemed like the end of the world at the time, it didn't end up being a bad thing whatsoever. I was very happy at Durham. I can't imagine a better university experience than the one I had. If you're in a similar situation to me, where you've been rejected from Cambridge or Oxford or whatever university you wanted to go to, don't worry about it. When things don't go the way that you expected them to or that you wanted them to, things are going to be absolutely fine and they're going to work out well in the end. Just stay optimistic, be positive, and keep pushing forward. You can unlock some cool stuff using my Patreon link down in the description. Watch this video next. I put a lot of work into all of my videos and I'm sure you'll like it.